Welcome everyone to Buying an AP Automation Solution, a webcast brought to you by the Controller Council. My name is Neil Brown. I'll be hosting you today. I'm Executive Director of the Controllers Council. But first, before I introduce our expert presenters, let me mention some brief housekeeping items. First, use the GoToWebinar control panel to ask our experts questions. Next, know that this presentation will be available to you by tomorrow, in 24 hours. You will receive an email with a link to this presentation. And then finally, after the presentation, I'll circle back with some special Controllers Council membership discount codes and also give you a first peek at some upcoming events. So with that, allow me to introduce our presenters, Mark Gervais, Director of Product Marketing at Bill.com, and Gary Hornbeek, CFO of Quicken. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thanks, Neil.
Yeah.
Happy to be here. Want us to, I guess we'll go through some introductions and get going here. This is Mark speaking. I think you can all see me. As Neil said, Director of Product Marketing at Bill.com. And if you had asked me 20 years ago if I would be saying any of those words, I wouldn't have believed you. I was a CPA. I started off in public accounting. Worked in Big Six, which is what it was back then. And really have made my way through my career, sort of weaving back and forth between being on the finance side of things and on the marketing and vendor side of things. So for the last 4 years, I've been at Bill.com, helping people just like you automate AP. I've worked with some of our largest accounting firms at Bill.com, and now work with controllers that work for mid-sized businesses to small businesses. Helping figure out the case for automating AP. So really a pleasure to be here and look forward to a good discussion. I encourage you all to ask questions throughout the webinar and we'll answer them. And our very special guest, Gary Hornbeek, is here. Gary, I'll let you introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Like you, I'm also a CPA and a Big Six alum. I worked at Pricewaterhouse before it was PwC, so that dates me a little bit. But that's not why you invited me today. You invited me today because I'm a 13-year Bill.com customer. The last 5 with Quicken. I'm the CFO of Quicken. We were part of Intuit. It's 30-year-old software, and Quicken was spun out in 2016, and so we've been Bill.com customers here at Quicken for the last 5 years, and I'll share more about that later. But I'm a very satisfied Bill.com customer and look forward to talking to the Controllers Council. When I started at Quicken, I was the corporate controller, so I'm very familiar with what you guys face on a day-to-day perspective.
Very good. Thanks, Gary. All right, so looking at the agenda, here's what we're going to cover. We're going to start off with why AP automation, why now? Just a little way to ease into it, get us all on the same page. Then I'm going to share with you some research. We did some custom research that Bill.com did last year, sort of a couple months into the pandemic, and what are peers in other organizations doing when it comes to automating, what type of technology are companies looking for, share some baselines. Then we'll really hand it over to Gary, and he's going to talk about the process of buying an AP automation solution, what he's been through at a number of different stops in his career. How do you get started? And then what do you look for? And how do you go about the evaluation process and making it happen? I'll share with you a little bit about how Bill.com thinks about solving AP automation. And yes, we've got time at the end for some Q&A, but I encourage you to interrupt anytime, go to that chat window and chat at us, and we'll do what we can to answer your questions live as we go.
Maybe I am alone.
All right, so let's get into it. Why AP automation and why now? I think is also a very important question to answer. So to the first question, why AP automation? It's all about pain, right? I've got to say, you know, I've been very fortunate to be at Bill.com the last 4 years because the whole space around AP automation has become really hot. And you know, maybe a global pandemic has something to do with it, and having to go remote and do things digitally, sure, maybe a little tailwind. However, you know, this is one of those areas of the finance world that has always received some attention. You know, Bill.com's been around for 15 years, and Gary with us for most of that time as a customer. But you know, the point being, there's new attention being paid to AP automation, and it's because a lot of people have realized as they move to new and modern technologies, move around in their career, you know, update processes, that you know, getting rid of pain, getting rid of work that should be able to be done by a machine, and leaving the more thoughtful and value add work to the humans, if you will, is where we are today. So, you know, the traditional AP process is pretty manual. It's repetitive. There's a lot of paper involved, and scanning, and then chasing down approvers and finding who should approve this, and will you approve this, and why haven't you approved this? Sending checks, you know, that was a big thing, a big reason why so many businesses came to automate AP in the last year, is getting away from sending checks. I've heard so many stories about ways that controllers, ways that AP managers were getting CFOs and CEOs to sign checks, and they violated all sorts of internal controls. You know, stuff like, I've got an envelope full of checks, and I'm going to put it in this Uber, and it's going to be couriered over, you know, to the CFO, who will hopefully then sign it and stick it in the mail. Goodness. And then, of course, when you're all done, you know, the reconciliation piece of all that is sort of a painful manual process as well. So automation is all about transforming that to being faster and paperless, being able to go mobile, having an audit trail every step of the way, automated reminders, so you're not always chasing people down, digital payments with a click. So this idea of, I'm not logging into a separate bank portal, I'm not going into another system, it's all there as part of the AP automation, and then syncing all that with the GL for easy reconciliation, real-time view into things. You know, that makes so much of this pain go away. And why now is the next question to answer. And first of all, congratulations, you're all sort of getting the answer to this, being here in this webinar, right? If you're curious at all about AP automation, you're at the right place. Really, the reason to automate now is it's about agility. You know, people love to use the term, you know, the new normal. I don't think we're there yet. I think we're still waiting to figure out what the next normal will be, and that's going to require some agility as we change month by month, quarter by quarter, as you know, we return to office and figure out what demand is going to be and what supply chain is going to look like. So every business has these unique workflow needs now that may need to change more often than we're used to in the past. There's an incredible focus on cash flow, and there has been for the last year plus, if it wasn't already. Certainly seeing growth again in the economy, across the economy. Your business may be growing by the number of vendors you use for supply issues, number of transactions because your business is growing, number of locations as you expand. You know, your company could be pivoting or changing direction, or your processes could be changing as well. If you go from remote to back in the office to semi-remote, one thing that's probably on all your minds is staffing and talent. You know, we're finding in across the industry where it was sort of tough to hire good talent pre-pandemic, now it's become even more challenging. A number of people have left the workforce to care for family. You know, a number of people are being let go because of budget cuts. So whether you're having trouble retaining people or hiring them, you know, having the agility to automate processes is very important. And then, you know, I've seen a number of businesses just decide to bring all their finance work in-house. Small companies that grow, where they used to have a bookkeeper or an accounting firm that would do all the work for them, are growing to the point where all that finance work has to be done in-house. And so you need agility to make that transition. So these are all reasons that I'm hearing from customers on a regular basis as to why it's so important to automate now.